Hello, and welcome to our channel, Lengold English. Before we begin, I want you to listen carefully, because this is not just a video. This is not another tutorial or motivational speech. This is the true story of Marcus. His life changed completely the day he discovered a formula to learn English all by himself, without leaving home, and without needing a conversation partner or tutor. Get ready, because the story you're about to hear today will prove it's possible and show you how you can do the same. My name is Marcus. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a native speaker. I'm just like you, a person who once understood English well, but couldn't speak it without feeling nervous and scared. Today, I'm going to tell you how I learned English at home, in my bedroom, with no speaking partner, no expensive courses, and no one to practice with except myself. If you're watching this feeling frustrated because you can't speak English, even though you understand it, then this story is for you. 3 years ago, I was at my cousin's wedding. After the ceremony, I sat at a table with people from different countries. There was Sarah from Australia, Ahmed from Egypt, who spoke perfect English, and 2 people from Germany who were talking about their business in English. I understood everything they said, every single word. But when Sarah turned to me and asked, "So, Marcus, what do you do for work?" I couldn't speak. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. I felt my face getting red. Finally, I said, I work, and then I stopped talking. The conversation continued without me. For the rest of the evening, I sat there understanding every joke and every story, but I said nothing. I felt invisible. I felt like I was watching life through a window. I could see everything, but I couldn't join in. That night, I wrote in my notebook, "I will speak English well, even if I have to learn completely alone, even if it takes me years, even if I make mistakes."
My difficult beginning. The next morning, I woke up with energy but no plan. I had tried normal methods before, grammar books, apps, online courses. I could pass any written English test. But speaking, that was my biggest problem. I realized something important that morning. I had been learning English like it was math, studying rules and trying to be perfect. But language isn't math. Language is like music. It has rhythm and feeling. Babies don't learn by studying grammar. They learn by listening, by copying sounds, by making noise until those sounds become words. I needed to learn like a baby again, but with adult determination. So I made an important decision. I would make my bedroom like my own English-speaking country. For the next 6 months, I would speak only English in my room, even if I was talking to myself. My family thought I was crazy. They heard me having conversations alone in my room. My mother would knock on my door and ask, "Who are you talking to?" And I would answer in English, "I'm practicing, Mom. I'm learning to be fluent." But let me be honest, those first weeks were very hard. I would stand in front of my mirror trying to introduce myself, and I would stop speaking, forget words, and sometimes just look at myself in silence. There were nights when I wanted to quit, when I thought maybe I just couldn't learn to speak English well. The mirror method discovery. Everything changed when I discovered what I call the mirror method. It happened by accident during my 3rd week of practice at home. I was having a terrible day where every English sentence felt impossible. I was trying to talk about my daily routine, and I kept stopping because I couldn't find the right words. I was frustrated, so I walked to my bathroom mirror and started talking to my reflection like it was my enemy. "You know what?" I said to the mirror. "You think you can't speak English? Let's see how long you stay quiet." And then I started having an argument with myself in English. I was angry, so the words came out naturally. "I wake up every morning and I practice for hours, and you still can't speak well. What's wrong with you? Are you stupid?" And then something amazing happened. I started arguing back with myself. "I'm not stupid. I'm scared. I'm scared of making mistakes. I'm scared people will laugh at me." That conversation lasted 20 minutes. 20 minutes of real English coming out of me because I wasn't trying to be perfect. I was just being honest. From that day, I had daily mirror conversations. Not practice sessions, real conversations. I would tell my reflection about my day, my dreams, my fears, my thoughts about movies I watched or problems I had. The mirror became my first English-speaking friend. The shadow copying technique. The mirror method taught me to speak freely, but I needed to improve my pronunciation and natural speaking rhythm. That's when I developed the shadow copying technique. I started collecting videos of native speakers, not lessons, but real conversations, TED Talks, interviews, movie scenes, podcast clips. I would choose a 30-second part and copy it exactly. Here's how it worked. I would play the clip, pause it, and then repeat exactly what the speaker said. I tried to match their speed, their emotion, and even their hand movements. If they moved their hands while speaking, I moved mine too. If they smiled while speaking, I smiled. I wasn't just copying words, I was copying how they acted while speaking English. The big moment came when I was copying a clip from an interview with Emma Watson. She was talking about education, and there was this line she said with strong feeling. Education is not just about going to school and getting a degree. It's about learning more and understanding the truth about life. I repeated that line maybe 50 times, matching her emotion and the way she paused between words. And suddenly, I realized something amazing. I wasn't translating anymore. I wasn't thinking in my native language and then changing to English. I was thinking directly in English. That night, I called my cousin, the same one whose wedding had been my silent moment, and I spoke to him in English for 30 minutes. He was surprised. "Marcus," he said, "you sound like a different person. What happened to you?" The storytelling method. Speaking with my cousin gave me confidence, but I had another problem. I could have simple conversations, but when I tried to tell longer stories or explain complex ideas, I would lose my flow. That's when I discovered the power of storytelling for learning. I started with childhood memories. Every day, I would choose one memory from my past and tell the complete story out loud in English. Not just the facts, the emotions, the details, how I felt. I told the story of my first day of school, including how scared I was, what my teacher looked like, how the classroom smelled. I told the story of learning to ride a bicycle, describing every time I fell and every moment of success when I finally rode without help. These weren't English exercises. They were my life experiences being told in a new language. And something beautiful happened. As I told these stories in English, I began to think of my memories in English too. The real test came at work. During a team meeting, my manager asked if anyone had ideas for improving customer service. Usually, I would stay quiet or give very short answers. But this time, I told a complete story about a customer service experience I had, connecting it to a solution for our company. I spoke for 3 full minutes without stopping, without translating, without fear. When I finished, my manager said, "Marcus, that was great. I've never heard you speak so clearly and confidently before." That's when I knew the storytelling method was changing not just my English, but my whole way of communicating. The emotion vocabulary training. Being fluent isn't just about grammar and pronunciation. It's about being able to express who you really are. I realized I had been learning English words, but I hadn't been learning English emotions. I started what I called emotion vocabulary training. Every day, I would choose one emotion and learn every possible way to express it in English. Not just "I'm sad" or "I'm happy," but many different ways to show feeling. For sadness, I learned disappointed, heartbroken, upset, devastated, discouraged, down, sorrowful, depressed. But more importantly, I learned to use them in real situations from my life. I felt devastated when my grandmother died. I was disappointed in myself for staying silent at the wedding. I feel down on rainy Sunday afternoons. I practiced expressing anger, joy, confusion, excitement, nervousness, pride, every emotion I could think of. I would stand in front of my mirror and have emotional conversations with myself. I'm frustrated because I've been studying for months and still make mistakes. I'm excited about my progress, but nervous about speaking to native speakers. This training changed everything because suddenly my English conversations had depth. I wasn't just sharing information, I was sharing experiences, feelings, and thoughts. I was becoming a complete person in English, not just a language student. The real-world test. After 8 months of home practice, I felt ready for the big test. I joined a local English conversation group that met every Saturday at a coffee shop. These were real people, native speakers, advanced learners, international students. Walking into that coffee shop, I felt the same nervousness I had at the wedding. But this time, I was prepared. I had spent months having conversations with my mirror, copying native speakers, and telling my life stories in English over and over until English became not just a language I studied, but a language I lived. The group was interested in my story. For the next 2 hours, I joined discussions about travel, career goals, cultural differences, and personal dreams. I told stories, shared opinions, asked questions, and even made people laugh with stories from my practice sessions. When the meeting ended, Jennifer came to me. "Marcus, I've been leading this group for 3 years and I've never seen someone speak so naturally in their first session. Your English is fluent, but more than that, you speak with confidence. You don't sound like you're performing English, you sound like you're living it."
The change continues. That conversation group became my weekly celebration, but the real change was happening in my daily life. English was no longer something I did, it was part of who I was. At work, I started volunteering for presentations and international calls. I began reading English books for fun, not just for improvement. I started dreaming in English. Most importantly, I began helping other people who had the same fears I had. My younger sister, Anna, had always been too shy to speak English, even though she understood it well. She watched my change and asked me to teach her my methods.
Within 3 months of practicing the mirror method and shadow copying technique, she was speaking confidently at her university English club. My coworker David, who had been avoiding English-speaking clients for years, started using my emotion vocabulary training. 6 months later, he was leading international projects and had been promoted to a position that required regular English communication. The methods that changed everything. Let me share with you the exact techniques that changed my English so you can begin your own change today. The mirror method. Spend 15 minutes every day having real conversations with your reflection. Don't practice sentences, have actual discussions. Tell your mirror about your day, your dreams, your problems, your opinions. Talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend. The goal is to make English personal and emotional, not academic. The shadow copying technique. Choose 30-second clips of native speakers talking naturally. Stand up, play the clip, pause, and repeat everything exactly. Tone, emotion, hand movements, facial expressions. Do this with 3 to 5 clips every day. You're not just learning pronunciation, you're learning how to speak English naturally. The storytelling method. Every day, tell one complete story from your life in English. Start with childhood memories and then move to recent experiences. Include emotions, details, and how you felt. Your stories should be 3 to 5 minutes long and spoken out loud, not written. Emotion vocabulary training. Choose one emotion each day and learn every possible way to express it. Practice using these words in sentences about your real experiences. Don't just learn happy, learn excited, thrilled, content, joyful, cheerful, and use them to describe actual moments from your life. The English environment method. Change your personal space into an English learning zone. Change your phone to English. Put English labels on objects in your room. Play English content in the background. And most importantly, speak only English when you're alone in your practice space.
If you've stayed with me until this moment, I want you to know something important. You already have everything you need to become fluent. You don't need a partner. You don't need expensive courses. You don't need to travel to another country. You need 4 things: a mirror, determination, daily practice, and the courage to make mistakes while you're learning. The Marcus who sat in silence at that wedding 3 years ago and the Marcus who speaks confidently today are the same person, but with one important difference. He stopped waiting for permission to speak English, and he started creating opportunities to use English. Your bedroom can become your language school. Your mirror can become your conversation partner. Your memories can become your lessons. Your emotions can become your vocabulary practice. 3 years ago, Marcus made a promise to himself in a notebook. Today, I want you to make the same promise. Say it out loud right now. I will speak English well, even if I have to learn completely alone. Even if it takes time. Even if I make mistakes. Remember this. Fluency is not a place you arrive at. It's a skill you build. Every day you speak English, even to yourself, especially to yourself. You're making that skill stronger. Here's what I want you to do right now. Your first action steps. First, go to your mirror tonight and introduce yourself in English. Tell your reflection who you are, what you want, and why you're learning. Have your first real English conversation with the most important person in your life, yourself. Second, if this episode helped you, please share it with one person who needs to hear Marcus's story. Maybe it's a friend, a family member, or a classmate who struggles with speaking English. Your sharing could be the moment that changes their English journey forever. Third, subscribe to Lengold English and leave us a review. Tell us which method you're going to try first: the mirror method, shadow copying, storytelling, emotion vocabulary training, or the English environment method. Your reviews help other English learners find these life-changing stories. And here's my personal promise to you. Every episode of Lengold English will give you real stories, practical methods, and the inspiration to keep going when learning gets difficult. We don't just teach English here. We transform English lives, one story at a time. Your English fluency is not hiding somewhere waiting to be found. It's inside you right now, waiting to be practiced, waiting to be spoken, waiting to be lived. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect partner, or the perfect course. Start speaking now. Start practicing now. Start being fluent now. Your transformation begins with your next English sentence. Make it count. This has been Lengold English. I'm your host, and I'll see you in the next episode where we'll explore another powerful story of English transformation. Until then, keep practicing, keep believing, and keep speaking. Remember, you don't just learn English, you live English.